Welcome back to the Repertoire series. We are looking today at Cornelius Gurlitt's Etude. It's quite a lovely piece. I'm going to give you a demo of this solo, and then we'll walk through all of the stages of learning this together. Lovely. And it really sounds quite sophisticated, and if you're going, oh boy, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to play that, don't worry, I've got you. We can do this together. This piece is built on chord progressions, chord patterns. So what I'm going to go through with you right off the bat is noticing that from measure 1 all the way through the end of the piece, the left hand and the right hand are playing the same chord. And for the vast majority of every measure, you're going to see whatever the left hand plays, the right hand will play exactly the same notes. What? Yeah. So you're really getting 2 hands for 1. So if you're not that great at reading treble or bass clef, pick a hand and the other hand will follow suit almost always. So let's talk through. I'm going to suggest that we just work through the chords in block form. I'm not going to worry about the triplet, about playing the notes one at a time. I'm going to put it all together right off the bat, like this. On the keyboard, you'll see the first measure, D, F sharp, A. I'm just going to play it all together. Both hands, yep, at the same time. Okay, so we're going to take this chord. Now we're going to take the A and go up half a step. You notice that my whole hand shifted back towards the fall board here. So that's very helpful to reach that A sharp. Take the A sharp up another half step, B. Noticing the bottom notes D and F sharp did not change. Again, D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A sharp, D, F sharp, B. What? That's so nice. D chord. This with the A sharp is D augmented, all of you working on theory out there. And then this guy, D, F sharp, B, is a B minor chord, inverted of course. Okay, this time at measure 4, keep the B. We finally get to stay stationary there. And then the bottom 2 notes, D and F sharp, become E and G. That's E, G, B. Oh, E minor, right? Okay, so that's the whole progression. D major, raise the 5th, raise the 5th again. All right, and then the top note stays the same and bring up the bottom 2 notes to make E minor. That's one full cycle. We're going to do it again, starting now in measure 5. Wait, it's the same measure, E minor. E minor is going to become the new chord that starts our second progression. E minor, measure 5. Okay, take the 5th note of the chord. Yep, you found it. Raise it again. Okay, and one more time, C becoming up, C sharp. Aha. Okay, now keep the C sharp the same and bring up the E and the G to F sharp and A. Whoa, that's not nearly as complicated as it originally sounded. Okay, so that is exactly the same idea. Up, up, bring up the bottom 2 notes. That's exactly what he did on D major. I love it. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a moment, and I do want to say, even if you're playing the blocked chords, you want to notice that the finger numbers are very, very important. If you're comfortable already with chord inversions, you're going to find that the finger numbers are pretty intuitive. If chord inversions are not quite your cup of tea yet, I'm going to say yet, hoping that it will be one day. If it's not quite your cup of tea, no worries. They have the finger numbers printed, especially where they think you might have a question mark. So you want to be cautious that you follow those printed on the edition that you have. If you have the Alfred edition, of course, for group piano, it's all there. Okay, so I'm going to move forward now on those 2 lines, and I'm going to just talk through for a minute that measure 5, E chord, E minor, E, G, B sharp. That seems a little squirrely to try to put a name on that. So I'm going to call this B sharp. If you reinterpret that for just a moment as C, oh, it's a C chord, C, E, G, right? So that's an easier way if you're having trouble labeling that chord and you're trying to make a chart in your head. That's just easy to think of it as a C first inversion chord. Moving to C, E, G, C sharp, the next one on measure 7, that is a C sharp diminished chord. And it's, of course, in first inversion. And then the last chord here at measure 8 is F sharp minor. Root position. Measure 9, we're going to carry on with that same chord, F sharp minor, and then take the C sharp up half a step, and notice that the right hand you're going to play 1, 2, 5 there. Okay, so that is going to be up that pattern the same as we started. Noticing the pattern does not continue here on the third line. It only plays F sharp, A, C sharp. We take the C sharp up to D, pattern pauses. So he doesn't complete this pattern, he just starts it. Noticing that F sharp, A, D, if you're trying to label that, that is a D major chord in first inversion. Moving to measure 11, we're going to keep the D constant and bring up the lower 2 notes and make it a G major chord. So there's G major here, root position. Measure 12, okay, circle this measure. If you have a pencil nearby, I suggest you circle this measure because this is the one, there's 2 measures, this is one of 2. The right hand and the left hand don't play exactly the same notes. It's close, but it's not the same. This is usually where students trip up and make a mistake. So I'm helping you now so you're not one of those students that make a mistake. Here on the keyboard, you're gonna see that the left hand is G sharp, D, E, right in the middle of the piano. Right hand, you're playing B, not G sharp. B, but you do play the D and the E. So D and E in both hands. Left hand, your starting note is G sharp. Right hand, your starting note is B. G sharp, D, E, B, D, E. What on earth is the name of that chord? Well, I'll show it to you a little simpler. E, G sharp, B, D. That's an E major 7 chord. So that's why it doesn't fit perfectly where one hand copies the other. If the right hand and left hand copied each other exactly, you wouldn't be able to get the full 7th chord in. There's 4 notes, and the triplet only gives us 3 notes per hand. Now you know why. Okay, on to measure 13. We're on the last line. Hang in there, you're almost there. Measure 13, we're going back to D major. It's A, D, F sharp. Again, the left hand's in the middle of the piano. Right hand an octave higher. That's your D major chord. And then it's going to resolve to A major, A, C sharp, E, root position. Okay, and second to last measure, measure 15, circle that measure as well if you have a pencil handy. Again, the hands are not going to be exactly the same position. So left hand, you go back to D, F sharp, A as in measure 1. But right hand, you're not going to play in root position. You're going to play first inversion. F sharp, A, D here. So all the notes are D, F sharp, and A, but the right hand's not in root position. Okay, and then left hand, you will finish the last measure. You simply play the D alone as a solo there. All right, so that, my friends, we analyzed the entire piece together. If you are still working on that, I would pause the video here and work on those chords, blocked hands together. There is no pedal. Don't worry about the triplet rhythm. Just get the chord progressions and the correct fingering. And when you get that, come back and pick up where we just left off here. Okay, so now I'm assuming you've done that and we're moving forward. So on this, again, the rhythm is going to be triplets, triplet, triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet. So that's the idea of feeling that rhythm. Each hand is playing a complete triplet so that you feel 1 da da, 2 da da, 1 da da, 2 da da, and so forth. And then as you get more comfortable, it is allegretto. Sorry, I didn't mean to change the camera. It is allegretto there, so you can add a little bit more speed. And as you do, you'll notice things like using the rotation of the arms, bringing the elbows away from the body. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Most of the time, the notes are ascending. In fact, that's kind of the idea. So you're usually rolling the forearm and the elbows to the right, like that. So that's something that you can talk about a little more with your teacher on technique. I'll just put that tidbit out there. The pedal. You'll notice the pedal is marked here on the first 4 measures. We're going to simply change the pedal with each chord. So back to the block chord idea, play, add pedal, play, add pedal, play, change pedal, I should say, play, then change pedal. So that's the pattern. If you're just getting started on the pedaling and you're not really confident, play the blocked chords and then the pedal changes right after that. On measure 4, you see after the pedal marking a little word called simile here, S-I-M-I-L-E. LE, simile, and that means continue pedaling in the same fashion. This whole piece is designed with that same change the chord once per measure. So you can simply pedal with the chord change. The chord changes, pedal changes, chord changes, pedal changes, and that gets you through all the pedaling there. Okay, my friend, thank you so much for joining me on this etude journey. I hope that you've learned a lot. Etudes are always teaching pieces, and we have talked about a lot of things to learn, especially with these chord progressions. I hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a like or share it with a friend if it was helpful, and I will see you next time.